Perfect. All right. Good evening. This is Robert Stevenson. I'm going to call to order the regular meeting of the Southwick-Tolland-Granville Regional School District School Committee meeting this evening. Can I get a motion to open the meeting?
So moved.
Can I get a show of hands to open the meeting? Aaron, can you let the record show the vote was 5-0-0, motion passed. Can I get everybody to stand for the pledge of allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And just a reminder for people, make sure your cell phones are on silent or vibrating, and I'm checking mine as well. Because it was on, mine would have rang probably right after you. All right, so we have, we've got a consent agenda tonight, guys, for our minutes for our 8/21 workshop. We've got some home education plans and an approval of the fundraiser. All of that information was in your packets. This is the time frame. If you have any issues, let me know, or whoever holds your peace, because we'll vote on this in the section. If there's anything in there that we need to pull out, now's the time to bring it up. If everybody's good with that, we'll move forward. Warrants, we've got some warrants here that we need to get signed this evening. If everybody can do that, that'd be fantastic. Superintendent Willard, do they have any correspondence?
We do not.
Look at that. Okay, so that brings us to our first public comment period. Anybody wishing to make a public comment needs to be here in person. In-person speakers will be allowed 3 minutes to present their material and must begin by stating their name and address. Total time for tonight's public comment for this section is 15 minutes. I may extend that time frame if we have a number of people. I think we may have one this evening, so I don't think we're going to need to go through our 15 minutes. Improper conduct and remarks will not be allowed. Comments may offer such objective criticisms of the school operations and programs, but in public session, committee will not hear public personal complaints of school personnel nor against any member of the school committee. Looking to have a public comment? Yeah, fine. You can stand right there, just state your name and your okay.
My name is Con Bailey. I live at 6 Tiffany Circle in Westfield, so I'm over the line.
But your kids
go to choice. Yeah, here we have our son Ryan in 6th grade, just started. So I apologize for some of my emails that have gone on to some of the people here, but an issue did come up that's of concern for myself and my wife. The superintendent released an email which included a link to the framework coming down from the Board of Education. I unfortunately opened that and spent some time looking through that. It's rather extensive, and I focused on 6th to 8th grades for our son. So when I went through that, I was really uncomfortable with some of the language in that framework. Much of it is very good. Much of it is acceptable, and you would expect that. But there was some language in there which I thought for 11 and 12-year-olds especially, I think was over the top in regards to being age appropriate. Some of these proposed discussions that they want to implement in the classrooms are going to be geared to having discussions with 11 and 12-year-olds about sexual relationships. And they even stated in there verbatim the positive and negative consequences of a sexual relationship. Now, I don't think it's appropriate for my 11-year-old son to be having a conversation about this material at this age, 3 or 4 years down the line, perhaps. So that was one issue. And then the other issue is, as I've stated, is I feel there are some topics in there which are not based in fact. For example, the framework repeatedly states that there are more than 2 genders. And this is happening all over the country. And I have to stand up and take objection to this. I don't think it's right for our kids to be taught something which is not true. It's a very simple proposition. there are two biological genders, and I feel weird standing here having to say that. So, you know, there are other issues that are in the framework. But I just wanted to come and say that I had some concerns, so I thought it right to come here and actually, you know, publicly speak about it here at the meeting. So that's where I'm coming from. I know we're limited here on a local basis, what we can do. We have to implement what the Board of Education puts out there. But I thought perhaps as parents, as administrators, as a town, we could certainly say, you know, these are our concerns. Why can't we report back to the Board of Education and say, hey, wait a minute, you know, let's take a look at some of this language, you know? And I'd like to know actually if there's more parents in town that are concerned, like my wife and I would expect that there are. You know, is there a way for the board committee to send a notice out to parents saying, look, maybe people are too busy. They're not gonna spend the time that I did looking at that frame. And I think parents need to be put on notice that this language is in there. Maybe they're comfortable with it, great, maybe they're not. But I think maybe the town should let the parents know that this framework has been revised. There's been some amendments made to it to include some of this language. So that's really where I'm coming from, and I just wanted to pass that on to all of you. So, thank you very much.
Thank you. Just to, I guess revisit some of this, just to let everybody know that's listening, out there on internet land and to everybody that's here, is that we did, this is something that we did bring up at our, summer retreat. That, Jenny is actually on top of all of this, that we're gonna get a group together from a consulting perspective, where they're gonna get people together, they're gonna look at the framework and the bigger pieces, they're gonna look at the curriculum. I want to commend Superintendent Willard for sending this information out to the parents twice prior to when the timeframe was that people could submit comments to the state. Superintendent Willard and I actually talked about this previously, where there are some districts out there that actually didn't communicate this at all to their parents. So I'm with you. I think people, we want to make sure that we let everybody know about this. As obviously as the state continues to do their research, we're going to make sure that we notify the parents of any sort of things that are coming up, things that are coming down the pipe. If we as a committee do get a number of complaints that are coming in, I'm certainly not opposed to having a special session where we have everybody open to come in and we can set a longer period of time so we can hear concerns from the public. But we're gonna keep a close eye on this and make sure that we address it as we move forward. But we will, although the framework, whenever it comes down,
Right.
we don't really have a lot of wiggle room on the framework. But the curriculum inside that goes to the framework, we will be able to have some influence on, and we've already got a system set up that's gonna be able to address that.
And also that the frameworks came out in grade spans, so
Right.
6 through 8. So what we might teach in 8th grade does not mean we're going to necessarily be teaching it in 6th grade, depending on the topic. So it's a span.
Yeah, so stay tuned. Certainly the beginning of a long conversation, and we're certainly sensitive to that, and we know certainly the people that are in our district, that there are obviously more than one parent that's concerned about this. All right, so that being said, welcome back, young sir.
Senior.
Do we have a like Padawan in training that's gonna be coming down? Or
They don't let me pick.
are
I would have to hear by now, they let me.
we voting for one up at the school, or how does that work?
I have been told, Mrs. Shorter told me that they're looking into it. I don't know if there's
Okay.
going to be a vote of sorts or if it's just going to be a selection.
Okay,
It's up to her.
well, we're assuming we're gonna have somebody shortly.
Yeah.
Okay, very good. I got it on good authority. We're gonna have somebody shortly.
I look forward to it.
All right.
It is sad being alone.
I know, it's pressure.
Exactly.
I know, you're on your own now. So what do you got for us?
Nothing much, you know, we're nothing much really. We're just happy to be back. You know, it's been a good first couple of days. Things are going smoothly. Fire drill went very well today. For the large part, few stragglers, but for the most part, we were good. And if I remember correctly, there was a cross-country game tonight, but it's been postponed to tomorrow. Apparently, the track was unsafe. So,
Oh,
yeah.
Vocation.
Rocks, it's not hard track.
No.
Oh, I hope not. I thought they were gonna just, because of heat, and they moved it to tomorrow, which is gonna be hot.
Even better. Now,
All right, I
Soccer?
know girls soccer had a game last night. Unfortunately, they lost 4-1 to Palmer. But
JV tied.
JV tied, JV was down and came back. And certainly the results do not mirror the effort and the progress that team's made with the new coach already early on in the season. So I think there's gonna be some good results later on here. You know, Mr. Trammell came to watch. What was your opinion? I think they did pretty good last night.
You can see the impact Coach Wally is having already.
Oh, absolutely.
on the program. It's everyone.
Yep, absolutely.
Also, I have just been reminded the summer reading assignments, the big thing, is tomorrow.
A block.
A block. I can't say I'm excited, but it's there. It is.
Hey,
worth
this is a
mentioning.
safe space. You can't be. I don't think anything you say will be held against you.
Testing on what you were supposed to read over the summer?
Yeah, so like depending on what book you read, they give you a like prompt and you have to write it.
So basically, every kid is now reading the book tonight, is what you have.
Pretty much, I've heard
Okay.
from multiple people, they're like not even a quarter of the way yet, like, oh, here we go.
Well,
Taking
you
those
know,
clip notes out.
Procrastination is alive and well, and it sounds like. All right,
They do, my kids have found them
Oh,
all.
clip notes.
Sorry, they exist.
clip notes, do you even have those?
That's what I just asked.
They gotta be called something else, so I guess.
Yes, they are. I
Um,
can't share what they're called, but they are called.
All right, so
something
we're anxiously awaiting your partner in crime, maybe next time.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, awesome. All right, educational presentation. Cell phone pilot grant. You guys, wherever you want. You can sit over there by Pam, you can. There you go.
Let me bump over
Right,
and then
in a
you
room
guys
so that you guys can have a little court.
I'm collecting my hot mess here.
Certainly, you can stay if you want, you can leave if you want, it's up to you. Fantastic. You did public. It's fine, I like it when there's public here. All right.
So, I wanted to share some information and we are here to make a request. This summer, actually right at the beginning of the summer, some conversations coming from the commissioner's office and DESE about supporting schools with cell phone use, student cell phone use during the school day were a buzz. And in August, DESE put out an option for schools to apply for a grant to support approaches to address student cell phone use in school. And so with 2 days, we put the grant proposal together, actually Chuck and Sean put it together. And we were accepted for the grant. And we were accepted for the maximum funding for which we are eligible. So the purpose of the grant is to support districts in implementing practices, policies, or programs that address cell phone use by students during the school day. And that is based on the growing evidence of the negative impact that cell phone use during the day has on student learning, social emotional growth, and mental health. And I think mental health is a layer that's really pushing this at this. I mean, we've known that it's a distraction through social media and texting. We know that bullying through social media. We know that it's had an impact on the social emotional well-being. But I think what the most recent emergence is the really significant effect that it's having on mental health. And so, and there's a recent advisory from the Surgeon General on social media use and youth mental health. So that's something that we could share out, or you can find online what their advisement is. So I think that's the impetus for this at this point in time. So what SRS would like to do is we would like to use the funds to implement the use of yonder pouches. And we would like to roll it out with our middle school. That's what we're thinking at this moment, that we would start with the middle school, because middle school already has policy of off and away during the school day. So what this would do is it would further support students and student safety in terms of giving them a way to stay away from their phone during the school day. Pre-COVID, we used to enforce a lot of use of lockers, and it was an increasing battle to get students to leave their cell phones in their lockers. We now are moving, students use their lockers, but not as often. They're carrying their things with them, which we're okay with, but that cell phone is with them all day. And so it's a constant battle, not just between teachers and students, but between students and themselves. They know it's there, they hear it vibrate. They see someone else on their phone, whatever the case may be. So, we would like to roll this out in the space where it's already an off and away policy. We'd like to see what the use of this pouch will do, in terms of student engagement and in terms of negative social interactions that are occurring during the school day. Because that is almost every, social or student conflict event that comes up during the school day, we can trace back to something with the cell phone. I got a text that, or, someone said something, or I went to the bathroom and even texted home crying to my mom. My mom got upset and called the school and the school, we never even had a chance to address it. So there's all of these things that happen with the constant communication. So how the Yonder pouch works is it's a pouch that each student gets one. At the beginning of the day, they put their cell phone in it and close it. And when they close it, it's magnetized closed and they cannot open it. The only way they can open it is by someone with a magnet release to release it. So that would be an administrator or a secretary or someone. At the end of the school day, as student exits, and as you know, we exit through only 2 places in the building. Students come by and swipe and they can open the pouch and take their phone out. So it would allow us through the school day. I know that there are students who need their phone for medical purposes. They obviously could have access, or if we want to give students access during the day for any specific reasons, we have that capability. Pros and cons that have emerged around this topic is the cons historically have been the expense of Yonder pouches, which would be a non-issue if we get this grant. There are concerns that kids can cheat the system, and I won't go into all the ways that they can cheat the system, but they can. You can put a fake phone in there, or you can do different things. Yes. I don't want to go out all the ideas. But
I think teachers can't tell it's a fake phone.
I mean,
We're using old
How many phones do you have at home?
I have one.
I have like
a
10.
Oh, you need it.
Yeah.
Okay.
But there are ways around that, and in a minute, I'll have Chuck speak to his experience with this in action at his former school.
Okay.
That it does result in, you don't see the phones. So even if students are trying to cheat the system, and some of them will, we know that, nothing is foolproof. It does what it achieves what it's intended to achieve, which is significantly limited cell phone use, and teachers and students fighting over the cell phone is not happening. It becomes a battle with administrators and students, and a much less frequent battle. The last thing that some people get concerned about is emergencies. The only real emergency would be the ultimate emergency that we can think of. This would be necessary. And the truth is they are destructible. So you could destroy it and you could rip it open and take your phone out if you were in that situation.
So just to back up, these would be held where?
Student would carry them themselves all day.
Okay, no, that's fine, because I would have, the first thing that came to my mind was, okay. I have no issues with this, other than we actually have an emergency up there. And we need to get in the phones, they can get in there.
They could.
Okay, all right, no,
Now, we don't want them.
they gotta make an effort to do it.
Yes.
Okay.
So if they did, it would destroy the pouch.
Exactly.
And
So on a regular day, if they're destroying the pouch, then we're in
they
a
would be
government,
charged that,
No.
I would hope.
we would address that like we would address the destruction of anything else. The pros, as we've already mentioned, it limits use, significantly limits use. Less distractions in the classroom, greater student engagement. Students from over 1,000 schools across the country have already implemented this. And students initially, the reports are that students initially struggle with it, like they would with any, taking away.
They're going through withdrawal.
But
it's literal.
No,
But after two to 4 weeks, students are reporting themselves how it feels different to engage with school without, I'm gonna use my word is the burden of the cell phone, like knowing that you can do it. Relationships between students, between themselves without the distraction of the phone, and relationships between students and adults. So putting some perspective on what it does to the student-teacher relationship if we're always battling over that phone. I'm trying to get you to pay attention to my lesson and then put the phone away, I'm gonna send you it seems like a silly fight to have, but it's a real fight that happens, and it's damaging to the relationship in large part because anyone in here who's a parent who's had that, who's tried to take their student's phone away, you see what happens. And these aren't even parent and child, so that's Angie. And then, as I mentioned before, all the negative social interactions that come as a result of using the phone during the day, and that spontaneous moment, right? Somebody says something and you're mad and you text somebody, and next thing you know, everyone's missing the block after lunch because we had this texting thread of.
So this,
stuff.
if they put this in the pouch at the beginning of the day, it doesn't get opened up until the end of the day.
Yeah.
So that even deals with breaks in
Lunchtime.
between the classes, lunchtime, God forbid, they actually have to talk to each other.
Interact, yeah.
Rather than text each other, you may find that, oh wow, communication skills actually improve.
Well, that would be a good thing. You want to speak a little bit to your experience?
Sure, and you guys can ask me any questions that you want, I should be able to answer them, because I'm coming from a school that, so it was a 9 through 12 school. So it was high school students, so they had like, the 7th and 8th grade at SRS, they already have the off and away, even during lunch, even during hallways, all those things already. This school, the school that I'm coming from did not. So I come from Chicopee Comprehensive High School, which is 1,200 to 1,500 students, depending on the year. Grades 9 through 12, and they had no real cell phone restrictions. It was kind of like teacher discretion. They could use them in the hallways, and it was implemented in November of last year. And it was a shock at first, but I can tell you I didn't see a single cell phone after the yonder couches were here. So even though you can circumvent the system, how it works is there's a zero tolerance policy attached to it. So, students have cell phones in their pockets or whatever, or in their bags. Even if they do try to circumvent the system, the teeth is in the rules associated with it. So if a student does have a cell phone that's working, then there's zero tolerance and the phone is confiscated. And, the school can decide, or the district can decide what the penalty is if you want to have parents come pick it up right away, and, whatever that policy might look like. The teeth is really in that. It removes the pressure from the teacher from having just left the classroom myself. I can tell you it's very difficult to teach and instruct and also like check for cell phones. Yeah. It sort of removes that distraction from the teacher as well, and allows the teacher to, to focus more on instruction. As far as the safety aspect is concerned, I've kind of told this to my students as well. Cell phones are probably not going to save you in an emergency situation. I'm just trying to be straight up. Like in an emergency situation, I think the one that we're especially thinking of, it's going to be about survival. Like, what actionable things are you going to do? And none of them are probably going to include a cell phone. And if there is an emergency, there are 650 students in the building. There are 100+ staff members. Somebody called 911. Okay, so that's one of the things when it comes to true safety, your focus should be on whatever actions you can take in that particular moment to be safe. So I think the cell phone is really, I don't even know if it's second on the list. It's low on the priority list in my opinion, just my opinion.
Point. That's a point.
Are they in the bag and off or in the bag and on?
Either way,
Doesn't matter.
so the rule is off, to try to just, because of this buzzing, it's gonna drive the
Like you're
student.
gonna get somebody in the corner where they've got it on vibrate and it's distracting
For
the whole time.
sure, so any questions other than? Yes,
Do you have a picture of what they look like?
I probably could pull one up on my phone.
You can- It's about this big, it's just a gray pouch and it says yonder on it, and it like a sunglasses case almost,
so
like
it's
No, it's very soft,
It's
yeah.
soft.
Okay.
It's actually extremely soft. There are different sizes, so Chicopee went with a larger size, which was. Trying to think, maybe half of a size of a piece of paper, so if we took, I'm gonna take your. Sorry, Miss Shorter, I'm gonna take your paper. So I would say the average size is about that big, because they wanted to accommodate like,
Pluses.
yeah, AirPods. So that the
Yeah.
headphones or things like that for
Yeah.
students. So there's different sizes that you can get, there are some options. And again, it is soft enough where if you had to, you could, it wouldn't take a lot of force.
You could wreck it if
You
you
could
needed
cut
to.
it.
100%, you wouldn't even have to cut it.
Right.
And if a student does damage it and there is no emergency situation, then again, it's like school property, so they would have to pay for that damaged yonder pouch.
Can we have one?
So share.
I was just at a, I was just at a comedy show and they forced you to put them in there.
Oh,
Yeah.
no way.
Yeah, so my wife and I chose to leave ours in the car.
Yeah.
But they force you to put them in there so that you can't film and,
Yeah.
I mean, there are a lot of issues, right? Students like taking pictures of other students during the school day.
Yeah.
Students taking pictures of teachers, filming students. There's just, there's so many negatives. And I know that cell phones are really important to students, like, you know, even maybe they shouldn't be, but we know that they are, and I know that's a difficult thing, but the research just isn't very positive toward social media, cell phones, for any of us, for as adults either. For you and I as well.
So what do one of these go for? What do they cost each?
$15 to $30 is what I got.
And what's the grant that we got?
We didn't get, I don't have a dollar amount.
I do,
It was-
10,000.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry.
Okay, I'm sorry. I got the communication, but.
I knew that.
Oh, okay,
Yes.
I'm sorry. I thought I said that.
Yes.
10,000.
So logistics, so what's the
333
mechanism for opening
couches.
and closing?
So it's not just any magnet though, it's actually like a magnet that it would attach to like this table, or it could attach to a wall. You slide it in, it's just click.
And so how many of those magnets will you have and like how, like, do they have to do it both at the beginning of the day and the end of the day? Is that like, would this result in like this big long line? Like, what's the like logistical procedures?
So for that one, do you mind me? doing this one? Okay. So it goes very fast.
Okay.
Actually, so even at the comedy show where most people probably never had experience with yonder pouches, it even went fast there. But for Chicopee Comp, I can tell you that it went extremely fast. Like it was a non-issue. It had after a couple, maybe a week, there was zero impact on affecting departure time of buses, things of that nature, because it's so fast and so efficient. It depends how many entrances and exits you use. So I suppose for entrances at Chicopee Comp, students could kind of come in anytime. So there wasn't this line of students. So at SRS, there might be an initial line, but I bet you it wouldn't change anything more than 60 seconds.
And will you have just one location where they swipe?
That'll be up to Principal Shorter, but essentially you can do 2 locations, you can do 1 location, you can do multiple magnets. That's really going to be a logistical issue. And I can tell you that Yonder, I assume they'll be the same way, that Yonder, the company, was extremely they were really helpful. So they sent out a representative, they go over all of those things with you to be like, okay, how many students do you have? What does it look like? And they actually even come for the first week or
There's
so.
like a port or something like that,
Okay.
right? I mean, theoretically, you could have one on each side of the wall, so 2 lines.
You could have 2 on each side of the wall, you could have 3 on each side of the wall, you can have, yeah, if there's a
It doesn't
particular.
like we have 1,000 students.
Mm-mm.
No,
Right, right.
no,
It wouldn't take long.
And we have, we have half coming in, we have 2 entrances.
You could even set up double ones. I don't think that.
The slowest aspect of the line was if administration, if we do choose to search. So sometimes there were random searches on random students to see if, you know, especially some students opted out of the program, saying I just choose to leave my cell phone at home.
Oh,
And so if they chose that particular route, then sometimes administration, you know, there'd be a separate line.
Yeah.
And administration might choose to poke around and make sure that it's actually at home.
so they would be issued a pouch, just like they're issued a computer?
Yep.
Okay, so you've got enough money for
Together.
333 pouches. How many kids we have in 7th and 8th grade? So,
And
we,
then
what do
listen,
we do?
we've had this conversation about, do we request to roll it out 7 through 12 and just do it all at once?
We don't have
Or,
enough money for,
or
we
do
don't have money
we
for.
start with 7, 8, see how it goes, and then
Yeah.
possibly roll out a year at a time?
So
Or
here's
2 years
the
at a
other, here's
time.
another question I got for you, sort of like in between. I know that right now, or at least I know they're trying, math department has rules that anytime the kids come in the room, they've got a little sleeve that they're supposed to put phones in. Is that working?
It worked for the math department in the spring.
Okay,
They had success with it, and
I mean, if we're looking to go to Yonder pouches for the
Yeah.
entire school, that's a pretty good cheap in between, wouldn't it? That you could theoretically
And we
roll out.
Sort of, here's the thing though, like it works in the classroom,
Yeah,
but there's a lot of time between classrooms.
oh, no,
So
understood, but I mean,
it's still
it helps the
hallway
teachers,
access,
it helps the
still
teachers
backroom
teach.
access.
Fair.
The math department has reported increased engagement.
100%.
No,
So I mean, look, the
100%.
yonder pouch solves all the issues. But if they had a sleeve that they were putting their phones in at the beginning of every class until we get yonder pouches for everybody. That would help
And
the
that's,
distractions for the teachers, and if we had it successfully implemented at one of the groups. Couldn't we expand that to the
It's
others?
being expanded, like there are more teachers besides just the math teachers doing it now this year.
Feeling empowered.
Yeah.
so we've asked the teachers to do that. We've
Okay.
cited the success of the math department, and we've asked other teachers to work toward implementation. And it is successful in terms of when everyone is in compliance with it, when we're not
Yeah.
having arguments about it. The piece that for some students is problematic is students don't, it's this interesting thing, don't like to be separated from their phone. So
Yep.
the yonder pouch, even though they can't use the phone,
They
It's on their
having
bodies.
it, having it makes it's interesting what a difference that makes.
Alright, so it's going down that line. We have 230 students in 7th and 8th grade. That means we theoretically have an extra 100 yonder pouches that we could disseminate into the school. If you've got 80%, but if you've got most of your students that can handle the sleeve and go sit down, but you've got some that can't handle it. If you've got 100, you've got 100 yonder pouches that you could implement for those kids that want to have it with them, but can't handle the sleeve while you're growing it up.
I think though that the teeth on it too comes from your policy making. So for example, I actually think that if a student is using their phone inappropriately, I actually like the idea of separating the student from the phone as a disciplinary action. So I'm not opposed to like the extra 100 yonder pouches. We're gonna need some anyway if there are students who do damage them. But the teeth on that particular thing, like if a student is using their phone inappropriately, then I think separating them from their phone to some degree is probably the best
Put
disciplinary
it in
action.
their action.
Do the magnetic strip stations there, do they cost money?
Yes, but they're, I have to be honest, I don't know how much they cost, but they're super, so it's literally picture like almost like you know those little rubber door stops? They go against the wall, it's like a little rubber ball.
Just dispense it.
It's about that size.
Yeah.
And so it almost is like a dome shaped hook. So I can't imagine, I didn't price them out, but I can't imagine those are extremely expensive. So yeah, I think what you're saying is the remaining money. would go
Yeah,
for it.
so I mean,
Well, who knows?
maybe we get 50, but to your point,
But if you've got extra.
yeah.
And you've got kids that can't comply anyway, hey, guess what? We now have a solution for you.
So we have some options in terms of how we roll this out and what we,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? So we'll need to talk about like what our practice will be around this. We would update our handbook of like for the moment, like whenever we get all this together, we would update relative to the consequences for not using your yonder pouch.
Yep.
Rolling them out to high school would be a change to what our practice, what says in our handbook in a bigger way. Because right now students are allowed to use them between classes and so on and so forth. So that's a little bit more legwork we were thinking, not that we're opposed to doing the legwork, but in terms of change for students. But yes, having them, I think
But
we
if
can
you've
do
got-
whatever
if
we
you've
want
got-
with them.
Frequent offenders or people that are just not,
Yeah, we can use
you gotta
them.
go down that road, then that goes down that road, that's gotta go in line with whatever.
Yep.
Something in 3/4, the Hogwarts rule that we've got to. Without getting too heavy on the discipline, that's gotta be an option, that's certainly.
And here's a dumb question, but like the magnets don't like harm the phones or damage the phones or wiping.
No, they're totally fine. Totally fine, yeah.
Because you're always telling people like, oh.
Zero issues.
You know?
Yeah.
We get them.
So, well, we need the committee's approval to accept the grant.
Yeah.
Once we get that approval, then we have to go into the grant and fill out all the information for how quickly we can make this all
What's in there?
happen.
Okay, I was just checking to see if it was in as an action item, I was just informed it was. If it wasn't, we could have added it tonight. No, I wouldn't have voted on it unless we had a
There you
presentation.
go. I know.
But we'll be ready to move quickly. On
Let's
all
quickly,
of
define
these things.
quickly.
Meaning as soon as we have, we'll dilly dallying.
You may have.
We'll reach out to the company and-
In less than 30 minutes. so.
Desi is ready, like,
Yeah.
they want, the commissioner wants schools piloting this.
Yeah.
And so they're putting everything in place to make this as accessible as possible.
So how long would it take us to get the money from Desi?
At the end of every month,
Yeah.
for grants, how it works is. Starting the 20th of every month opens a 10-day window for school districts
So
to
effectively.
project what they want from the grants.
Yeah, all right.
So. It might be, so let's say this gets voted, it might be September 20th comes and the magnets cost $5,000. So we would put $5,000 in to get the magnets, and then the next month they say, we want X number of
Well,
pouches.
basically, there is
they
no,
put $5,000.
we can move forward with it immediately.
I don't see there would be
As
a,
long as yonder can get.
I mean, like, there's nothing from a budgetary perspective, if we've got the approval, we can move it from wherever we.
yeah, the
got it.
money, the money is actually there.
Okay.
The state has awarded the money, it's a matter of us now going in and accepting it and they want to spend it as soon as possible
Yes.
as well.
Well, I'm sure if there was a chat on there, if there's any kids watching, I'm sure we're gonna get some negative chats. But look, we all of us at this all survived school without phones. I'm sure the teachers would like that. Right,
Listen,
Ted?
I had a first day of school text, Mom, this is insanity. They're making us put our phones in boxes and everything. I was the little instructor. Maybe you're using it too much in class. Take my kids. My juniors will be a pilot for the old. Please, just basic.
I think it's fine, put pieces in there,
Oh.
put second phones in.
Well, I think it's also, for 7 and 8, it's less of a shock because they're already under this policy, but I think if I'm grades 9 through 12 right now. This is the vice principal in me, I guess, but you know, if I were grades 9 through 12, I would be following every single rule. For cell phone policies right now, just to discourage.
The use of
The school, do
gadgets.
you want the carrots or do you want the stick? Sure, absolutely.
That's
Absolutely,
yeah.
because it is right around the corner, you know what I mean, and but if they.
Hey, if they can show that they can be more responsible. And conduct themselves in an appropriate manner, and we have extra yonder pouches to use for. Those children that do not want to follow the regulations, great, because. We may have to spend. $20,000 more. If we don't get an additional grant, but if it works. I don't think the committee is opposed to investing in that kind of money to make the teachers. Give them an opportunity to be able to teach better and have more attentive students. But yeah, if any, and you can relay back to your friends up the hill.
They'll be very
That
pleased to
that
hear
this is,
this.
that this might be coming, but this might be a really good time for them to, you know what? Let's start doing this the right way, and if a teacher wants them to put it in a sleeve at the front of the classroom,
And
that is
do
a
it.
wonderful option, and if you guys could comply with that. We may not have to go down this road. So. Any support we can get from the student representative to pass that on to the students at large would be much appreciated.
I mean.
Because I'm
I have
assuming
my
there's not 15.
grievances, But I understand. Understand, it's an excellent idea, so.
I wanna say, oh my gosh, guys, we better start getting this out, because guess what's coming?
I think that, not all, but a lot of students might find the freedom in it, because they don't know life, or can't remember life without.
Yeah.
the phone, and there's a freedom in spending time without it.
Speaking of a parent whose kid was addicted to his phone and. For years at school, and this year is not allowed to use a phone where he goes to school. Have a completely different student.
Oh.
A completely different student.
They're using yonder pouches?
I don't even know, no, they
They
use
don't have
a problem with
the
it.
internet.
Yeah, they have the internet, so kids can't get on.
Yeah, but
Your phone won't work.
Oh, at Pope Francis, they have like no service in that school. Yeah,
Well, they have a cell blocker.
seriously, I mean,
They probably have
we've done
some lockers.
competitions there and you have to go outside
Yeah.
just.
Would that be a cheaper option?
My kid is.
I think,
You can't.
Oh, you can't block
I
it?
wouldn't.
You can't.
Okay,
You can't.
I'm like, wait a minute, maybe
Yeah,
there's a
They
cheaper.
can do it, they can do it, we can't, we can't.
Interesting.
We have enough Wi-Fi issues already.
Yeah.
Real Wi-Fi.
If you guys have any questions in the meantime, you feel free to. I don't know what the rules are, but you can always email me or whatever.
probably, I don't wanna go out on a limb, but you'll probably have approval here very shortly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you for your time and your support, and we will keep posted.
Thank
Welcome.
you.
Thank you.
Have a great day, guys. All right, policies. 23-24 subcommittee meeting schedule. Is this just for policy subcommittee or everybody? Just policies, right? Yeah, so we've had a number of emails go back and forth. We are looking to start policy subcommittee in November. Is that right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's correct.
That's what we're doing, because a couple of us are off. We are going to continue with the continuing saga of fixing the policy booklet. We're on, what chapter are we up to, Aaron? We're way past C.
G, H?
Yeah, we're not to the, we're getting into the meat of it this year.
H is the big one.
Yeah, well, yeah, whatever the one, the student, whatever the student one is.
Students are, personnel, G, students are J?
Okay, so then, yeah, we're done with GA.
Are you done with G?
I know,
Yes.
whatever, we are where we are, but
Jen.
we're gonna be starting up November. I know we'll get that posted. We're gonna be down to 2 right now. Pam and I don't know where it is on here, but I'm just gonna bring it up now. We've obviously got next Monday. On the 11th, we have our joint school committee selectmen meeting for the town of Southwick to replace or appoint our spot that was opened up by Pat resigning. So that should get filled next Monday. Whoever we pick, the goal would be for them to get sworn in so that they're here at this meeting in 2 weeks. So we will 3.
What time is, I mean, I know I.
It's that, you come watch if you want.
What time is it?
It's a 6 PM meeting.
Going off in about a month.
We are going to be, I believe, first on the docket.
Okay. And it's at the town hall?
It's at the town hall. Yep.
It was Pam.
Yeah.
Yonder.
Yeah.
Don't you need a yonder
Ted,
bag?
you need a yonder
I'm
belt.
just watching you, Ted.
It's like, just take my phone.
In my day, it was the, if you lost your flint. Paper, you're dead.
You know, those kids out there making fire during class.
No, we sent smoke to the.
No, All right, action item, Superintendent Willard, you're up.
Move to approve consent agenda items as listed above recommended.
So moved. Second.
Any questions on this? This Pam's on her phone. She's so moving. All right, we need yonder pouches for the school community.
Thank you, yonder pouch.
My eyes are watering, my allergies.
You're gonna start coming to school committee meetings more often, aren't you?
It's a lot of fun.
All right,
You've seen nothing yet.
anybody got any comments on this? Questions? It's a consent agenda, so can I get a show of hands approved?
Aye.
Aaron, let the record show the motion passes 5-0-0.
Move to approve the student cell phone use pilot grant and expenditures as outlined in the terms of the grant recommended.
So moved. Second.
Any questions on that?
No.
Great, show of hands, accept the motion. Aaron, let the record show the motion passes 5-0-0. Did you raise your hand too?
I mean, I'll raise my hand.
Like to do like this little non-official vote on some of these.
I like to pretend I'm perfect.
All right, number 3.
Move to approve the 2023 through 2027 district strategic plan recommended.
So moved. Is this one page now?
I shortened it.
Aw.
2023, 2027, is that right?
5 years, yeah,
Oh, it's a 5-year plan. Is it always a 5-year plan?
yeah,
Oh.
but I
It
tweaked.
gets updated every year.
Okay, it's like a rolling 5-year
Yes.
plan.
The initiatives, the 4 levers usually stay the same, but
Yeah.
what initiatives we've had to update by the year.
Very
So
good.
moved.
Well, she moved it. I need you to second.
Second.
There we go. Any questions on this?
No.
Can I get a show of hands to approve the motion? Aaron, let the record show the motion. We good? Okay, let the record show the motion passes 5-0-0. All right, Superintendent Willard, enrollment numbers.
All right, so I just want to let everybody know the good news and the bad news about this school year. Which the good news is, We got 21 new school choice students this year. Okay, we got 9 out of our 12 that we opened in kindergarten. We got 1 out of 3 in second grade, 1 out of 5 in third grade, 1 out of 5 in fourth grade, 1 out of 5 in sixth grade, 3 out of 5 in seventh grade, 2 out of 5 in eighth grade, and 3 out of 5 in ninth grade. But we had a massive declining enrollment from eighth grade to ninth grade, which we knew because we had 25 kids go to WTA or Smith. So we lost, I believe it was, can't remember off the top of my head, 32 or 27 students from our eighth grade class to our ninth grade class. So right now, our enrollments at the regional school, right now across the district, we only have 3 grades that have over 100 students, 5th grade, 7th grade, and 8th grade, and 10th grade, excuse me. 12th grade, we're graduating 98, 11th grade, we have 94, 5th grade, we have 95, 6th grade, 94, 5th grade, 102, 4th grade, 97, 3rd grade, 88, 2nd grade, 92, 1st grade, 96, kindergarten, 85, and that is with 9 school choice class.
So the good news out of that is that if anybody's looking to school choice into the district, we've got openings in every grade.
Basically, yes.
No, that's
Yes,
good,
we do,
right?
except for 5th, where we have in first. But yes.
Oh, we're full?
Yeah, we don't have any, we didn't open them up because there were the 102 and the
Oh, okay.
96 in first, we don't wanna go any higher in first,
Okay.
but yes. I mean,
So just like we said at the end of last year, Superintendent Willard and I will meet, we meet every other week anyway, but we're gonna meet quarterly to do a quick little check on numbers of people going out and in. Right now, we wouldn't have to do that because we got open spots.
right,
But that way, if there are kids that want to come in at the beginning of, or during the year, we're able to deal with school choice seats on a rolling basis. We don't want to do it any more than that because it'll just get chaotic.
Mhm.
But that way, if kids during the year do move out, we've got kids that do want to move in that are different than those numbers that we can address and move on them fast. So that we don't have to wait and leave these kids hanging in limbo.
and so last year at this time, our enrollment was 1294, and so this year our enrollment is 1277. So we always know we're having a declining enrollment,
Is that a less of a decline than it was from the year before that?
it's about 2017. Yeah, we usually lose about 20 kids a year,
Okay.
but we got 21 new
Yeah.
school choice, which was huge. I don't think
Alright.
we've ever gotten that many school choices that I can remember in a year. So that was great. So I just wanted to give you the enrollment numbers where we were with school choice.
Super.
The opening of school, as Lucas said, it's been a smooth opening of school, a very nice transition. A lot of positivity was built off of the first day. A lot of positive feedback on convocation, the picnic, the opening speaker. People just felt the enthusiasm, bless you, and they just really felt like, oh, bless you, my allergies are going in your direction. Really felt like there was positive momentum to start the school year. I've heard a lot of positivity about people are excited to try new things in their classroom and they're doing new things in their classroom. So when teachers are positive and teachers have a lot of energy, it affects our kids, and our kids want to be in those classrooms more and they want to be engaged more. So the opening of school has been great. We do have kindergarten starting tomorrow, which is always a very exciting day. And so those teachers will be ready, and preschool started today. And it's just been, all of our teachers' teaching positions are filled, which did not happen last year. We had we had 3 resignations right at the end, of August. And we were already able to fill those 3 positions. So super exciting. Mhm.
That's anomaly from the
It's-
rest of the
it's-
state, right?
Yes,
There's lots of
yes, yeah. Well,
districts
the
that
exciting thing
focus on
was, we had somebody who was a long-term sub with us last year. And she knew she only had the position for the year. And she wanted to stay. So she had a position in another district, but when the position opened up here, she left and she came back here because she really wanted to be part of us. So I thought that really spoke volumes to just her first year in the district, and wanting to be part of the team again. So, I mean, great job at the SRS for creating that environment that really people want to come back to.
So we have no open teacher positions. I know we have a, out of the blue, an open. AT position, right, Joe?
Correct.
Had somebody in
Trainer.
trainer. We had a trainer and then it looks like they kind of went away, so.
Yeah, one of us in
Couple weeks.
5 to 7 days.
We're not alone in that. Palmer has nobody.
No.
No, we're not.
Palmer has nobody. There's a lot of people out there that don't have trainers, so.
I thought we had.
Well,
We did, we had a great candidate.
Well, maybe she'll come back.
Yeah.
You'll see. Maybe she's watching and she'll come back.
We're good.
All right. Mr. Kamel. What do you
Yeah,
got for us?
a few things. We heard from Mr. Amato, who's doing the facilities feasibility study in last April. Eric Wykander was able to provide him with really a lot of the topography and plans for not only the school, but for the rec center and Wally Park as well. So Mr. Amato has finished the study of the fields. He sent us a questionnaire that the athletic subcommittee, Mr. Stevenson, and athletic director, Mr. George, was able to kind of complete, asking the number of athletes that we have, the number of sports that could use these facilities, town teams, rec leagues, surrounding clubs that might want to use facilities or that we rent it out to, and potential sports that we might be looking to add as well. So Mr. Amato is now going to look at that. I heard from him last week. He received it, was going to put that information together for us, and I would anticipate in the next month or so, we'll meet with him to see what the next phase of this planning and presentation part of this is to the community. Couple projects this summer that are close to being complete. Our vestibule project at Powder Mill here, the doors were moved back about 25 feet from where Mrs. Parker is and Mrs. Jackson are in the front there, to kind of create that holding area that SRS has and Woodland has. That was not, we did not have that at Powder Mill. So by moving back those sets of doors, we now created two thresholds for anybody visiting the school that needs to get through. So that part was done. The next step is companies coming in to do locks. So that next phase will be locks and badged in. So we're happy with that progress. And the glass from the visitors to Mrs. Parker has been replaced. That was a glass that was really easy to kind of push in. And so that has become more stable and secure as well. So we hope in the next month or so that will be complete. 22 vape sensors have been installed. The wiring has been put in as well. We are simply waiting for the switches from Wally Computer to be put in, and then we will be up and ready to go with the vape sensors.
Well, we're
6 grade
gonna
bathroom.
get those kids with the
Yeah,
double
6 grade. So, put in the 6th grade bathroom, all the bathrooms of the regional school, and 2 in each of the locker rooms of the regional school as well. So we are pretty well equipped with them. So when the switches come in and those are all ready to go, that will be another support for the students up there as well. Our FY23 budget and audit, we had our audit that started the first week in August. Been working rather diligently with Powers and Sullivan, who is the auditing firm that the district has used for a number of years. Mr. Presnell has been in about every 2 weeks. He was in this morning with us, securing our E&D and our school choice numbers to make sure that they're at the highest number that we can carry over. So we're looking in good shape. They're making sure that the other accounts that we want to use the money so we don't lose it, those funds are being allocated as well. We had to reclass some monies, but we are in, this is Mr. President speaking, we are in good shape with where we are with the FY23 budget and feel comfortable with what we've done and moving forward. So he has been just a wonderful resource this summer for me. Lastly, And I'm glad he was here today because I got this information just this morning, just as he came in. So, as you're aware, the bus garage, July 1, right? July 1 is when the insurance expired for our fuel tank. And we had a 3-year agreement where I believe it was year 1, we were responsible, this district was responsible for any accidents. Year 2, it was a 50-50 split with LPBC. And this past year, LPBC held the liability for it. So when that expired on June 30th, LPBC was not going to renew it. We were not going to take on the liability for that. So we worked with LPBC and we drained as much gas as we possibly could out of the tank. Prior to the July 1. They removed it. It's their gas. No, we didn't.
We did.
And by removing it, they just sent all their buses and
Yeah.
filled up the gas. Yeah. So I'm sure there is some in there, but just not enough that's pumpable. That's even a
Right.
word.
The remnants that are
Yeah, exactly.
below
The
the.
sludge at the bottom.
So, the pump, the inspections, they're all up to date. We just had it done, July 14th. So there are no issues there. So the insurance for this pump was supposed to be renewed last week. There's a simple 8-question part to the renewal. And one of the questions is the tank in use?
Now the answer is no.
Now the answer is no.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
No. So I thought, and the insurance on it was, I think, $1,300. It wasn't that's not much for the insurance of the tank. So my thought was, do we need the insurance if it wasn't in use? And I talked to Superintendent Willard, and I talked to their bike painter, something that we wanted to do for the $1,300. So that's when I filled out the form and sent it in. So I heard back from Cabot Risk, who does the insurance through Maya for us. Because it is not a tank, it is not in use, it is not insurable.
Oh, jeez.
No.
That's because it's in a way, it's a bomb sitting under there, because you got all the fumes. And it only takes a spark. and then
Yeah,
all
that's not where I
packets
was
explode.
going with it, but.
This is going back to the flint. This is going back to the
Yeah.
flint.
Believe it or not, it's more dangerous now than what it was when it was full.
Probably.
So,
What do we need to
You
do?
gotta get up.
so we were already kind of projecting that we were going to have to do this. So Ty and Bond, who is one of the companies that comes in and does a lot of the planning for this type of work for us, has already given us the plan and the estimate for the work, the
Removal.
planning of the project and then the removal of the project. So we have already reached out to them this morning. It's like 15,000 for the planning, and it is about 25,000 for the removal. So 40,000, probably closer to 50 when all is said and done. What we do have is we have about $40,000 in a transportation revolving account that has been sitting there for a long time. That Mr. Presnell's recommendation was, and he earmarked this some time ago as.
Yeah, this
This
is
would
not
probably
something that
be-
wasn't gonna be on the radar. I
No,
mean,
it's been on my radar.
planned this, right?
We knew this.
We do, yeah, and like I said, a lot of the legwork has been done, so
Yeah.
hopefully this should be able to move rather quickly. Eric Wyken was already on the phone with Time Bond today to kind of put this in motion.
You need a vote from us to do anything, or the money's already there,
The
right?
money's there. Like I said, the money's in that revolving account, and if it does go closer to the $50,000, we have.
Take it out of D&D.
Well, we have approximately $50,000 in a capital from the bus garage that. That was earmarked for a bus garage and some building improvements that we could use the $5,000 to $10,000 from there. So we have the money to do this without a impact to the operating budget for FY 24.
If enough gas, we give away free.
No, so,
Philip.
but like I said, we have everything has been inspected, everything is up to date, it is the paperwork that needed to be. Filed with the DEP was done in July, so we have done everything to keep up with what we need to do. But we got this news at 8:30 this morning, so.
But right now, until we actually excavate that area and get rid of this and fill it back in or whatever has to be done, we are at risk.
Until the eighth,
What do you mean?
the policy runs out the eighth.
Oh, well, we're not gonna get this done.
No.
by the 8th.
I have to tell you, I cannot wait, since I started here 8 years ago, I cannot wait for this tank. I think
Okay,
Ted's with
so
me
let's,
to get out of this
we're gonna
route.
do this as soon as feasibly possible, right?
Yeah, I mean, we have the money, we have the money, we don't need to go out and get a bond or anything.
So do we, with that amount of a cost, do we have to go out, is it under a certain threshold?
Yeah,
Do
we have to, well, we have to get quotes, we have to
Okay.
get 3 quotes, it doesn't have to go out
Okay.
to, we don't have to do an RFP.
Okay.
We have to post it and we get 3 quotes and then we can.
Okay.
Go with the one that works best.
Can we just put gas back in it to get the insurance for however long? we
it's-
use?
We will, because that would be a lot.
What, how much gas that thing hold?
Oh, it's.
Well, we don't have to fill it, but enough just to,
But we have to be using it.
Yeah, you're using it,
well, yeah, we're using it.
yeah, but if you're using it,
Stop by and fill up. Free week.
You know, it's a school committee perk.
Right.
You can come fill up.
Fill it, yes. That's district around.
Imagine that.
I know, but I'm
Cola.
saying,
Well,
if
that
it's
would cola.
insurance, it
I'm
is.
not worried. I can honestly tell you, I'm not worried whether we have insurance or not.
Right.
My biggest issue was it leaking into the surrounding soil, not it
That's a
blowing up.
nightmare,
And
yeah.
that's when the EAP gets involved. That's my biggest
Yes.
concern.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's my concern. I'm not concerned about anything.
Right, that's good.
Yeah, I think
Yes.
Lucas wants another candy.
I'll take
You want this?
Sorry,
Close enough.
So,
probably not a good idea to go.
I don't, there we go.
you're good.
All right, you got anything else?
vape vestibule budget. Athletic field and the tank was the biggest thing, that's why I wanted to end with that, so I'm good, thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, subcommittees and liaisons, negotiations, we got anything on tap this year?
Yeah,
What?
cafeteria, I'm sorry, custodians and paraprofessionals.
Didn't we just do the custom?
No,
We did teachers 2 years ago.
They're on 3 years, right?
Yeah,
So we got custodians this year. And who else we got?
Paras, I'd like to do them soon. It seems like at the end of the year, we're just waiting,
Well, I mean, is there any reason we need to wait?
no?
Are we expecting major issues?
No.
Okay. So we are down, just to let people know, we are down a school committee member on negotiations. If anybody's interested, please let me know. Obviously, we'll have a new member here next meeting and kind of fill some of these holes, but if anybody wants to expand what they're doing, this is a great opportunity to do that. Finance, we've got another hole in that committee too. We should probably have a meeting soon, right? End of this month. You got time? We can do it end of the month type of thing, we'll get back on track.
Yeah.
Last Thursday of the month.
I think so, something like that. We used to do 10 AM, something around that time frame. Okay, LPVAC, collaborative. you know what I
We
mean?
had a meeting. And I love the new director, and I'm drawing a blank on his name.
Alvin Morgan.
Oh, he's wonderful.
Congratulations.
Yes, he's wonderful, wonderful, wonderful.
Really is.
Yes,
And
and he was
Huge.
with,
Yeah.
Chickadee,
Chicopee, and I keep on meaning to talk to him about that, because I know Chicopee must
He
have
was the
been so
superintendent of
sorry.
Chickadee?
the acting one.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
He's been, we've
It's amazing.
superintendent, Blair and I have had a few meetings with LPVC over transportation, and he's been really.
How are we, have we broached the
Responsive.
issue that we run into with
He's such a
accepting
great
kids?
guy.
Is that all resolved
He's working on it. Yes, he is.
in a manner that you don't need backup?
Nope.
Okay, good.
He's a
Let me know if you
lawyer
need
also.
backup.
He's, that's why I called him Dr.
Yeah,
Shady, yeah.
he's a lawyer also,
And so he knows all of like the, legal aspects and what routes to take and, but he's so fun, he's into swag and, giving the students this fun, like, experience, he's awesome.
Honestly.
Yeah.
Lets our kids get in the program.
Oh, he's
Before
the guy to
kids
go
are
to.
out of our area.
I have numerous times.
Good.
And they have a wonderful little child in their preschool this year.
Oh.
My granddaughter started it.
What else? The magic buses, the electric buses, nowhere near anywhere they need to be. They haven't even purchased the charging stations yet. They know where they're going. We're not getting any of them, of course. What else?
So we're gonna have to buy the charging stations, even though they've given us the buses.
No, we're not getting any.
Oh, no, I know.
I don't think they're free.
The buses are, they.
Oh, yeah, the buses are
Buses are
free.
free, but LPVAC has to pay for the charging.
Correct.
They do?
I believe so.
Oh, I didn't know that. We told last year that.
Yep. And
Free buses.
you have to buy this.
Yeah, you have to buy them.
And they're expensive.
Yeah, it's
Well,
not a
that's-
joke.
No, they're very
Why they're giving
expensive.
the buses away for free.
What else? I don't think there was anything mind blowing that happened. I can't remember, so.
Yeah, I don't know when our first meeting is from the corporation side. I did get a invoice they need us to sign off on, so.
I brought up that our buses haven't left, Woodland yet, and they all started laughing.
November, right?
That's what they
Are
say.
they staying
but-
till November?
They have requested to use the lot till, no, I don't know.
I thought it was November 1.
It is
when we
November
talked
1.
about it.
Yeah,
I wouldn't even hang your hat on that date, though.
no, I have heard they're still.
Are they
There's
paying, are they
there's
paying
nothing-
for it? Have the buses
Nothing
there?
that's been done.
Oh,
Uh-uh.
Cause we would just be paying. them.
They're providing someone at
Well,
the garage to open it
paying
up
a
and
piece of it.
lock it up for the keys and
Maybe we should charge them $46,000. Keeping the buses here for extra
And they
time.
brought up the tank too, and I was like, well, I'm not gonna talk about the tank, and I'm gonna talk about the buses.
No one wants to talk about it.
No.
All right, policy, we talked about that earlier, that's another one that we have an open poll on. Buildings and grounds, we will probably have a meeting next when John
Yeah.
gets back to us. I don't know where this falls in, but I know we talked about this earlier, I'd like to get a meeting with Matthew earlier than later, so we can start figuring out.
Food.
Cause we know we're gonna have an excess.
Yeah,
So let's not wait till the end of the year, let's start figuring out what our options are now.
Yeah.
So that we can have a coordinated plan as to how to utilize that revenue that's gonna be there. I did get a chance. I don't know where we put it, that's probably finance, yeah. I did get a chance to look at the freezer, it's fantastic,
Yeah.
it's huge. So now we're gonna be able to take advantage of any situations that come up where state has free food, we can pick up. Tilt table looks fantastic,
Yeah.
he's all excited about all these extra things that he can do. He's got a house salad, there's a salad
Oh, yeah.
bar.
They've been trying to set that up. They haven't like gotten it
Oh,
up and
okay.
running yet,
But
but
it's
it
gonna-
seems like they're working
Good.
on it to be ready soon.
Yeah, so we're gonna be looking at the way that this is set up is that we will have an excess revenue situation where we're gonna be able to upgrade equipment, hopefully food choices, more appealing food for you guys to eat. Depending that at
How
some
is
point,
the-
we may be able to look at the chairs, the tables, all that stuff up there too.
How is the delivery to Westfield going?
yeah.
St. Mary's?
Good?
Yeah.
Yeah, St. Mary's.
We're
We're doing
continuing that.
we're doing the elementary school again and we will start doing the high school. I think they wanted like another couple months to, St. Mary's wanted a couple months to adjust to it, so. Matt has been working with the principal over there, so we'll start doing the high school
Super.
in another
That's
couple
cool.
months, yeah.
Well, that just gives us excess revenue.
It's more.
No, I mean, it
is.
It's great.
It works.
It's good, so.
Yeah,
Lobster Day maybe on the horizon like this,
I'll take it.
I
Gladly.
think it's such a bad idea.
once a year, wouldn't that be cool?
That would be.
That'd be awesome.
First though, let's bring back the cookies.
Oh, okay.
Right,
Why can't we have cookies?
we can now,
Ask me something
pre-COVID, we
every day.
couldn't do à la carte. So think about à la carte with this. Because when all the foods are free now, the kids, I'll find out the answer for that.
We may be, I mean,
There's
that would be
do
something to
with
look
it,
at
but-
too, with the extra revenue we've got, maybe we can subsidize some of the à la carte.
Yeah, there's something to do with a la carte with the free,
Okay.
but I know that, that's all I know. I don't know what it is.
We'll talk about it. I'll see if we can get you cooking on this.
Oh,
ILT,
We have not yet had a meeting, I believe, next month is our first meeting.
wellness, everybody well?
That's not till November. I
Okay.
think.
Ed,
Nada.
technology. This is an every other year type of setup now, we're gonna have technology meeting. I'm joking. If Jonathan's listening, he was overtime. Is it, we got, I'm assuming Garland's gonna have,
So Garland, myself, and a contractor have a very in-depth meeting
that's right,
in 2 weeks. That's going to be a comprehensive look at not only what we have, but we have had some changes in personnel as well. And a vendor that we used this summer, they were extremely helpful in getting the 2,500 devices re-imaged and ready for the start of school, and kind of opened our eyes to
but outsourcing could look like.
what outsourcing could
No,
look like.
I think we've got an
and-
opportunity here with your staffing changes that are
Yes.
there.
Yes,
This is
so.
a certainly a win-win opportunity. for the
Absolutely,
district.
and that's how we're looking at this as an opportunity, so. I heard your concerns at our last meeting about what we needed to get done. I've spoke with Garland, we are on the same page as to what we need to get done, what we need to demonstrate to the committee and to the town with the capital. But this is going to be a very big meeting that's going to, over 3 days. I mean, they're gonna do a comprehensive look at what they can do for us and what we need, or how to look at things differently.
So with the size and the scope of that layout, do we have to take that out to
Yes,
3 bids, and it's
We would
probably
need
gonna
to.
be way above that, right? We're looking at RFP type of setup?
correct,
Okay,
which would be 2 weeks.
okay,
But we have it written and ready to go, so once these people kind of. These people, this
Yep.
organization looks at and kind of just guides us, really short-term, medium-term, long-term plans, we'll be able to get that out right away, and within 2 weeks, we'll have our bids and. We'll be able to select and I would say by, November, December, January, I'll be able to give you a progressive update of what we need to do.
and we're gonna be able to, before that, use some of the funds that we've got to replace these things that are done.
Yes, we have 200,000, 225,000 already budgeted for this, that is not part of the capital.
Right,
So that we can, once we choose the vendor, we can get going on it right away.
yeah, because the nodes were the things that were gonna die from the service perspective at the end of the year. So I think this is fantastic. If we've got something where, look, we've got this set up, we're gonna be moving forward, and on top of that, we've taken care of the technical issue, or not the tech, but the hardware issue, that we don't have any support. We've already got that set up, that we're gonna start implementing that at the beginning of the year, the end of this year.
Yeah.
I think the towns will be happy with that, because that is addressing the need and the push as to what we presented to them at all the town meetings. And that way we're following through with what we've asked them to do. All right, awesome. So capital committee, master plan, obviously Pat was on both of those. Master plan, I did have a conversation with Michelle Obregon. She sent me the section that they had for the school committee. I did give her some feedback on that, make sure they have the right name to high school. Yeah, well, they had Southwick-Tolland
Yes.
in there, so they're gonna do that. There wasn't anything out of whack in there. They were looking for us, they wanted something from a safety perspective that we've already addressed and are talking about. A couple other things that they were looking for the school district to really help from that master plan perspective. I think we're fine on it. What we certainly could do, I don't know whether we need specific liaisons from the school committee to be involved with that at this point. The next one is gonna be implementation. They're just gonna request for us to take a look at this stuff. If we need to, that was actually something I talked to Pat not too long ago. We do have the opportunity, if we want to, as a committee, to open up sort of an advisory or sort of a out of this little room help setup. We can always set it up where Pat could be the liaison, he could report to us on a quarterly basis or something like that, so we can, when we get there, we can talk about that. That's something that we can, as a chairman, I can certainly open it up, we have a discussion. We vote on it, it's a temporary sort of position that might fill the void. And allow us to do something with our, we'll figure it out. Legislative liaison, I don't know about you guys, but I did get the pamphlet in the mail this week about the November thing. I went, whoops. Your car warranty, probably.
Yeah. Oh, it's my wife.
Good, you gotta grab it or,
Yeah.
okay. So,
Where's the
where
flip?
the hell was I just
So
completely realized-
legislative liaison.
Oh,
So,
legislative,
yeah,
so
anytime
I know you mentioned before that you wanna go.
Yeah, yeah.
Does anybody have
I'd like
anybody,
to
I
go.
mean, we have normally tried to send one person. You wanna go? I'm for it, is anybody else chomping at the bit to go? Yeah, my recommendation,
Mhm.
get a hotel off campus. I
We
think,
did them,
huh?
they just redid them
No,
all.
I don't care. Get a hotel off campus.
And Aaron, I think you had mentioned that you had emailed me
You
some
didn't
stuff
tell me
about it.
till after.
If you did, I never got that
I've never
email.
seen it.
So, yeah.
No,
Send
but
that
how,
to me.
there's no big people stay there.
Get a hotel off.
Where is it? Is this the one in?
It's the one in Hyannis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They literally just got it.
Well, they get,
After.
I'll go, then go
Sure.
early to see what,
That's-
but it's, get a hotel off campus.
Can you talk to Sheila about me getting PDDs?
Yeah. She'll be there, she'll know you're there.
Exactly.
Oh, you're gonna have to record, right?
So
'Cause
it's
It's only 2
during the week.
days though, because Friday's Veterans Day.
So is it Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, or can I go like
You can go late, you
Wednesday?
can go late Wednesday and just
or
take
early
Thursday. Yeah, you could do
Take
Thursday and Friday.
The
Because
fir-
Friday's already
A day off.
right.
Just be
The
Thursday.
first day though, I ended up missing the first day because of basketball or football playoff, no, soccer playoffs. I missed the first day, that's that night is the big, whatever, the big talk. So you can get there later for you leave after school, you'll be able to make the late meeting. Aaron can hook you up with. You can get all your meals and you can get all the stuff. It is a very neat. Interesting setup. I got to meet a lot of different people from a lot of different districts. I'm sure you'll enjoy it. It's a lot of good speakers. It was informative. Right.
Commissioner on Friday,
You get to see who?
commissioner on Friday.
Are you being summoned or is it, okay.
I wish. I'd love to have you here.
All right, second public comment.
I was thinking about going to that.
Oh, you wanna go?
I could.
Well, Pam's gonna go.
Say goodbye, stop yourself.
If you wanna go,
I know.
no, but I mean, typically we send one person. If you wanna go, I'm not above us re-looking at from a budgetary perspective, I'm sure we could
We
make it.
sent multiple.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Let us know.
Ted
if you-
stays at the hotel.
That's fine. If you wanna go, let us know, cause we're gonna have to, we would need to
Yeah.
approve it.
Also, there'll be paperwork coming out.
Okay. Sounds good?
I've never done this stuff.
Yeah, I know. Anybody for public comment? Yes, sir.
Same guy, different topic. Figured you should hear from your public a little more. So, no, just, my wife and I were talking about, it's a question for the buildings. I'm sure you've had this repeatedly, questions about air conditioning in these classrooms. And especially the second floor. My son Ryan came home today and said, well, that really wasn't that bad. you know, but. Whole weeks can be brutal, I think, both for the kids and the teachers. So my question is, have you guys ever discussed putting even window units in the schools? It must have come up. So, I mean, it's a huge expense, but, and usually it's only for the first week, 10 days of school, but then at the end, you have May and June. Also, just a question, I know it's a question for budgeting. But, and things seem very tight, but, you know, a lot of the other schools seem to have at least window units in classrooms. So just wanted to ask about that.
That's, it's, public comment's normally not set up for sort of a give and take, but that's okay.
Yeah.
I certainly don't mind from the chair sort of saying, look, this is something that when the school renovations got put through, air conditioning was on the table. It was summarily rejected, from the towns, from the expense side. I certainly don't think that it's out of the realm of possibility to pretend now that we certainly have more options now than we ever did before. What are we doing upstairs for this week?
They come downstairs to do
Okay.
their conditions class. I already sent principal an email about it.
Yeah, because we're gonna have
But
issues tomorrow on Friday, obviously.
Friday, that's where I was, 5:45,
Oh,
out
okay.
there closing shades, because we
Good.
need shades. But we have looked into it in the past, and the electricity and everything is not designed. Eric Wykander can explain to you at your next buildings and grounds meeting,
Okay,
but it's just not a possibility to even put window units in or mini splits. It's just, it's not a
It's
possibility.
not code
It would-
either.
It's not, you'd have, it'd be
Yeah.
millions and millions of dollars because we're under MSBA funding for a building renovation. Like, Eric can do a much better job explaining. I just
so
know
do
the
we,
answer is
so
we
do
can't.
we have on hot days, because I know a couple of years ago, we ran into the issue at the end of the summer or the beginning of the summer. End of the school year, up to high school, there were a couple of days that were brutal.
Mhm.
But and obviously, second floor here is always a challenge.
Mhm.
We have a plan in
Yes.
place at this point,
Mhm,
right?
mhm.
So that we move those kids out of those classrooms.
Library, auditorium,
Okay.
and the community room.
Okay,
And now that we even have less kids, it's less of a deal.
right.
Yeah.
Okay,
They come downstairs, it's up super hot. I was just up there though. It wasn't that hot today, but by Thursday, I can imagine.
oh,
And,
yeah.
and I just wanna put it out there, yes, I talked to the superintendent in Westfield, graduate of Westfield High School. Their schools are completely different than ours, they have 2 schools with 3 floors. And the 3rd floor in both of those schools is, although I did survive and I didn't get to go home early when I was at Westfield High School.
I was gonna say,
It is very hot. The 3rd floor gets really hot. So we talked about it today and I said, you know what, you're in a different situation. You have to make your decisions based on,
Yeah.
you know, he's like, yeah, if I had all 1st floors, it would be a no
Are
brainer.
they ending school early tomorrow?
They are for the next 2 days. But I want to make it very clear and I told our principals the reasoning why, because I did speak to the superintendent. It's because of the 3rd floors at some
Westfield
of the
Tech has
schools.
4,
Yeah, and right, Smith, I call it Smith,
yeah.
has the 4 floors. It's really hot. It's
So this is
really hot.
this is their rain day that we had last year when Tolland got snow and we were having rain and we had to cancel.
It's,
Yeah, not a topic that has gone without conversation, but yeah,
Yeah.
we certainly have plans. Okay. Old business. Anybody got any new business? All right, at this point, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Second.
Can I get a show of hands to adjourn the meeting? Aaron, let the record show, the motion passes 5-0. Thank you, everybody. Have a great evening.
if you want to email, Eric White.